20-odd years ago, a young Eddie Brock has an abusive dad who throws him out of their home in New York City. Cletus Cassidy, their neighbour, finds Eddie outside and asks why he's crying. Eddie tells him, and Cletus gives Eddie some money and tells him to go to the movies or get some food or something. Eddie does this, he feels a little bit more happy, cheered up, and when he returns home, his dad is dead, having apparently fallen down some stairs. The cops ask Eddie if he knows anything, and Cletus gives him a look. Eddie stays silent. Flash forward to today. Venom poses on a rooftop. He and Eddie argue. They hear a scream and drop into what seems to be a mugging in a side street or an alley, till the perp is revealed to be, part of a sting operation by the Ravenscroft Institute, and they're using sonic weapons to weaken Venom. It's only when Eddie escapes by crawling into a sewer that they survive. It's clear that Venom is the muscle of this situation and Eddie is the brains. At Eddie's apartment, the pair argue, and they have to keep their heads down from now on that these men in black types are trying to capture them, just like Eddie's always said they would if they brought too much attention. Eddie visits Cletus on death row, but before he can get there, waiting outside is Detective Mulligan, who wants more information on Cletus's unfound victims. Cletus and Eddie talk. Cletus gives Eddie a message and he wants him to print in the newspaper or online or whatever as a favour. After all, Eddie owes him. Eddie says he doesn't know what Cletus is talking about, and Venom gets the feeling that Eddie's lying to himself. Eddie presses ahead with Mulligan's questions. Cletus, he wants to tell his own story, and he goes on about his natural-born killer-style road trip across the country with his girl and how the men in black took her away. And if Eddie helps Cletus find her, Cletus will confess everything. All the information that Mulligan is pressuring Eddie to get, Cletus will tell him. Eddie will be a star again, so that's great. Eddie reminds Cletus that they've already had this conversation, and Francis Barrison allegedly died after a run-in with Cletus half a decade ago, before Cletus was arrested. Cletus is angry. He says it's not true. The man is lying, and Francis was his kindred spirit. She went on the journey with him. He didn't kill her. As Eddie leaves, Venom points out the carvings on Cletus's cell wall. Back at Eddie's apartment, Venom shows Eddie the drawings, recites them just exactly as they are in the film, and they argue about who the brains of the operation is. Eddie says he was uncovering conspiracies way before he met this alien. Together they track down the location of the bodies and, maybe actually have them go out to the coast and do some digging, all that sort of stuff before they call the cops. Anyway, it's in the press and Cletus feels betrayed. Mulligan is very annoyed, but Eddie's good. His career's coming back, blah, blah, blah. Eddie won't let Venom go out, and Venom is getting increasingly frustrated. He says they don't have to be afraid of these men in black types, but Eddie obviously doesn't want to end up in Area 51. Venom smashes a spider, destroying Eddie's kind of kitchen table or whatever, and Venom growls that he hates spiders. Eddie counters with the point that he has no reason to hate spiders, he's just lashing out. Anne calls, and they have the same conversation at the restaurant as they do in the film. And then there's the same discussion with Venom afterwards about heartbreak. Venom reminds Eddie that they're connected, and what Eddie feels, Venom feels. So, they're just going to have to work together if they want to be happy. Meanwhile, at the Ravenscroft Institute, Francis is alive. Turns out Cletus didn't kill her, and his story is at least partly true. And she is being used as a test subject to develop sonic weapons based on her mutant abilities. She sees Eddie's report on Cletus, and that Cletus is getting a death sentence on the news or whatever in the newspaper. She attempts another prison break, and she gets pretty far, but she is captured by the crooked staff. The staff taunt her that she's never getting out of here. No freaks ever leave Ravencroft. Eddie visits Cletus in prison. Maybe it's like a weekly thing, and Cletus is pissed, and he screams at Eddie, saying that he feels betrayed and that he saved Eddie's life all those years ago. Eddie insists again that he doesn't know what Cletus means, but Venom's like, what are you lying about? What are you kind of hiding back there in your brain that even Venom can't see? So maybe it's a repressed memory. Cletus admits that he killed Eddie's dad, and Eddie wanted him to do it Cletus bites Eddie and swallows a piece of the symbiote. It all kicks off, pretty similar to how it did in the film. Eddie leaves the prison. Whilst Eddie sleeps that night, he's having a bad dream maybe, Venom takes his body out for a spin, and there's some sort of gang trouble in town. Venom munches on a couple of the criminals before he's hit with a Molotov cocktail, which harms him, and the shock of that wakes Eddie up. The pair return to the apartment and have the same argument that they have in the film, the same fight. Venom says he's a predator, he has to go out and hunt. Eddie says he's just looking out for Venom. You know, he's not cool with being used as a puppet and taken for joyrides whilst he's asleep. And then they end up going their separate ways.